Alright folks, welcome back. Hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing pretty good myself. We got some mail today. I actually mentioned these, whoa, we got them all mixed up. I mentioned these two in the last video, but these did come in. We got a Ford Sierra RS Cosworth. This is all Tarmac Works, but it's the Marlboro livery, so I've been trying to pick up all the Marlboro livery stuff. I think it's pretty cool. So there's that. To go along with the Marlboro, this one, it just came out, new release. This is a Ford RS200. And for some reason, they only put a window on the top of the box, which is, in my opinion, like the worst spot to put a window. But anyways, the box is pretty cool. Again, Marlboro livery, so that kind of goes with that back there. And then I picked this up, told you guys about it. 1995 Le Mans Supra. Looks pretty dang good. Got that one for a really good price. And then this one just came out as well. Ferrari 488 GT3 from 2022 Macau GT Cup. So some nice additions to the collection there. But you guys already know what we're doing today. We are going to do a comparison between the Almost Real AR box, BMW Z8, that's the one that came in the big collector's box, and then we're also going to do the Mini GT, which is just a regular release, of course. So yeah, just to get that out of the way, these are at a little bit different price point, and the AR box is a lot harder to find than the Mini GT, so we have to keep that in mind. The Mini GT retail price, we'll just say around $15 USD. I think that's fair. And then retail price for this was around $20 USD, but it did come in that big box set, so if you only want this one, you'd have to find a seller that split them up. Probably expect to pay around between $20 and $30 for this one. I did find a listing for this one. I think it was a UK seller. It was about $20 plus shipping, so we'll just call it even there. But yeah, we'll just, for simplicity's sake, we'll say that the Almost Real is about $10 more than the Mini GT. We'll call this a $25 model for what it's worth. So with that out of the way, we did review this Almost Real. I reviewed the whole BMW box set. We didn't do a super in-depth review on it because that was a long video. But so with that being said, we will go ahead and actually just straight up review both of these first. And I'll kind of point out some differences as we go, and then we'll kind of look back at the end, and I'll show you guys all the differences and give you guys my final thoughts. But yeah, I'm really excited. This is a super cool car. It's a little V8 coupe. It is very cool. It's a little, this is like a, this kind of reminds me of like a German Miata, except with a V8. So yeah, the Z8's really cool. And I'm glad to have some of these in my collection. Hopefully Mini GT does some other nice colors. Obviously I have this blue one from Almost Real, which that's one thing that drives me nuts about both of these brands is Mini GT and Almost Real, they did not give the actual like manufacturer paint code for these. Anyways, here's the card art. Hopefully these Mini GT card arts are not AI. I was kind of thinking about that the other day. One of you guys brought it up. I really hope these are actual. I hope these are made by humans, like this artwork. Anyways, this one is number 998, BMW Z8 in silver. There's all the information on the back, officially licensed and everything. This is a left-hand drive. I think these might have only come in left-hand drive, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, so Mini GT just calls this silver. The actual paint code for this car is Titan Silver Metallic. So, yes, Titan and then silver with a B instead of a V, metallic. Is it really that big of a deal to put the paint code on there like that instead of just saying silver? I mean, you could at least call it silver metallic, right? Okay, I wanted to make a quick correction real quick because after looking at some photos after filming the video, this does appear to be the topaz blue, not the Alpina blue. So I'm pretty sure the Alpina blue only came on the Alpina Z8. This is the topaz blue over crema option. So topaz blue over the cream interior. So that is the actual like paint spec for the car. And the Almost Real is kind of the same way. So here's the box for it as well. Of course, it is also officially licensed. This is actually a BMW genuine product because these were sold. I believe these were made and sold at BMW dealerships. Not made at BMW dealerships, but made for them. Very nice collector packaging. Yeah, if you translate this, which I have already done, I'll put it up next to it. It just says that the color is blue. So that is also kind of disappointing because the paint code for this particular model right here is Alpina Blue, however you want to pronounce it. Really cool color. Definitely deserves a cooler name on the packaging than just blue. But anyways, both of these are actually done in really good colors though, and both of these brands do really nice paints. So yeah, but anyways, we'll jump into the Mini GT first, and we'll actually do like a little review on it before we do the actual comparison and whatnot. First off, starting with the wheels, they look very nice. They're very crisp and detailed as far as these wheels go. It's like a nice 5-spoke, but you've got like a little split in between the spokes, and there's actually air going through those. There's some other brands like I've seen like Kyosho has done this way in the past, and obviously there's no space in between these little spokes. So to see Mini GT do that, very nice. Mini GT usually does a pretty good job with wheels, and another thing, they don't look plasticky. The like silver metallic paint that they use for the wheels on this, it doesn't painfully look like plastic, which some cars from certain brands do kind of painfully look like plastic, but these are just like a nice silver color. They look good. You've got the BMW logos in the center right there, and then the little lugs. Those BMW logos are actually very nicely accurate as well. So wheels good. This one rolls well. We'll do a roll test later when we actually compare them. But yeah, wheels and tires look good. You don't see too much of that tread on the sidewall right there. So yeah, looks pretty good. Wheels roll. Everything's good there. No brake details. I will point that out because the AR does have brake details. So yeah, the paint itself does look very nice. It's nothing too crazy. It's just a nice silver metallic color. The flake is very small, which I know some of you guys prefer when the flake is as small as possible, which yeah, it does I think objectively look better. But yeah, paint looks very good. Not really a whole lot to say about it. It's just a nice silver metallic, Titan silver. But yeah, so you do have these little vents on the side and the BMW logo behind it. The vents themselves, it looks like there's a little bit of textured plastic in there, black plastic, so that does look nice. BMW logo is nice and legible, and then you have this whole little panel right there where those vents are, so I do like that. The mirrors on this Mini GT are rubber, not super detailed, but they are rubber and flexible. They look pretty good and pretty accurate. You got your little door handle details there. Really nice panel lines for like around the door and whatnot. Yeah, here's the front end. BMW logo on the front, which is very nice. You can actually almost make out the B, the M, and the W on that, so very good. You got some panel lines running up the hood, and I will say, for how small this car is, that front end is massive. From like the tip of the car to like where the cabin is, that is a super long front end. But obviously that makes sense because this car has a V8 in it. So very cool. Just a cool car in general. But the headlights do look good on this Mini GT. Nice clear acrylic with a little bit of black outline going around them. Then you've got a little bit of silver metallic paint in there for the actual headlight lenses and bulbs. And that is on both sides. It looks good. And then you also have turn signals down here, which actually are done in orange acrylic. So very nice. Love to see that. And then there's little fog lights down here in this front grille, which are also done in acrylic, clear acrylic. So that looks really good. You've got a little bit of silver outlining going around those front grills, and then some nice black details in there as well. There's the spot for the front license plate. This one does not have it. And there's some more grille detail venting down there right above that silver lip, which looks pretty good. Front end of the Mini GT looks great in my opinion. I don't really have any complaints at all. I don't think there's anything they could have done to make this front end look better, aside from obviously doing like photo etched metal for the grille, but that does not come anywhere near this price point. So here's a look at the back end though. Again, we have some really nice acrylic lights. You've got one on each side for the main lights. There's actually, it looks like there's some orange on that top part and then red below that. So kind of a two-tone acrylic on this one. And then I think these might be, I don't know what these other little circular lights are, but they're done in red acrylic. Those might be blinkers, perhaps? No, blinkers would be the orange. So I don't know. Maybe they're just auxiliary lights. not sure. But then you also have these down here as well. I imagine those are brake lights. So yeah, lots of brake lights on this thing, but it does look very clean, very simple. I like the rounded look of it. And then of course you have your BMW emblem on the rear end of that as well. And I just noticed there's more brake light detailing right there in silver. So yeah, lots of lights. I would assume maybe these are reverse lights, but I'm not sure because they look to be red. But anyways, you have two nice little exhaust tips poking out down on that bottom end right there. They're done in silver. They actually look like there's some depth in them, so that is really nice looking. Then there's the look at the bottom. Decent detail, nothing too crazy, but it doesn't need to be too crazy. Yeah, it looks good. It just says licensed by BMW. It doesn't actually say what the car is, but the base is metal. That is another important factor here. So there's that. Now, let's dive into the interior because this is one of the best parts about this model from Mini GT. So obviously you have that red, which looks amazing. And there's going to be, I haven't taken a close look at this, so we'll just kind of like look around and see what we can see. You have the BMW logo in between the two seats on that part back there, that little black part. You've got the little raised up parts behind the seats, and there's actually a little bit of silver going around the bottoms of them. I imagine that's pretty accurate. You can see your rear view mirror up here connected to the windscreen. That actually does have some silver paint in it, which is awesome. We don't see rear view mirrors from Mini GT very often, so that is a very nice inclusion. The seats are a nice combination of red and black. I would imagine these are probably leather in the real car. And yeah, you've got color on the door cards, and you also have silver door handles in there. Maybe we can get the camera to focus so you guys can see. Maybe, there you go. That's as clear as I'm going to get it. So, but there's some nice silver detail in there. Of course, the red and the black on the door cards looks really good. Actually looks like there's a little compartment down in there on the door as well. It's really hard to get the camera to focus, but center console area, you do have your gear shifter. You've got a little red boot and then the silver top. Very nice looking. And then in the center right there, you can see, I believe that's where like your dial, well, that's where like all your dials and stuff are going to be in that silver part. But above that, I think is actually where your, I believe that's where all the dials and like gauges are, like your speedometer, odometer. I should have looked at some close-up pictures of the real car, but yeah, there's some little circular parts up there. You can see little vent details. The steering wheel looks really nice. There's some silver detail, and then looks like there is a BMW logo right in the center. Yeah, but the reason I say I think all the actual like driver dials and whatnot is in the center is because on both of these models, there's actually nothing like in front of the steering wheel from what I can see. So I think all like the speedometer, odometer, fuel gauge, all that stuff I think is actually in the center above the above that red trim and that silver detailing. Wish I could get it to focus better, but I guess it is what it is. But yeah, an incredible interior detail. This also brings me to a little bit of a complaint that I told you guys I was going to have with Mini GT. This is just our normal priced model. This isn't really a super expensive model in terms of Mini GT. Sometimes when we get really complex liveries, the price does start to climb a bit. Sometimes we've had models that are upwards of like $17, $18 retail price. This one, I picked this up, I'm pretty sure I picked this up for $11 from RC Mart. So it's a little bit cheaper than you'll actually get them in the US when they come out. But this is just a regular priced Mini GT. There's no extra cost for all this interior detail. And that kind of annoys me because we talked about this a few videos ago. We were looking at those Mercedes Maybachs from Mini GT. They need to start doing interior detailing for everything. Because not just for the open top cars like this, the convertibles, they need to do it for everything because obviously it doesn't add a whole lot more as far as cost goes, and it just makes the models look just next level. So that's my little rant with Mini GT. They need to start doing interior stuff on everything, not just the open top stuff, because apparently it doesn't really increase the price that much, or else that would have been like a $15, $16 model. So anyways, I think that's pretty much all to show with the Mini GT. So let's go ahead and look at this almost real one now. Almost real AR box. So again, starting with the wheels, You do have a nice silver metallic wheel. These ones, just like the Mini DT, do not look plasticky, which is awesome. You've got your BMW logo in the center. The ones in the center of these wheels, actually, you can see the B, the M, and the W, so I'd say that's a little bit better as far as the logo goes. You've got your 5 lug nuts in there. They look really nice. Again, you have the space between the spokes on this one as well. And you can also see that there is a drilled brake rotor in there. I don't see a caliper, which I guess is okay, but it is nice to have something behind the wheel, especially on these models that where there's a lot of space between the spokes. So I do really like that. And just like the Mini DT, this one does roll very well, even with the brake details and whatnot. So, and then the tires look very nice. I think they look a little bit better than the Mini DT. They're a little bit rounded to make them look inflated. The tread looks nice. There's a little bit less protrusion of the tread on the sidewall. So yeah, I think the tires and wheels on this definitely do look a little bit better. I think the color on the Mini DT looks a little bit more crisp, but yeah, definitely like these a lot. And then the color, Alpina Blue, looks incredible. It's kind of like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a dark blue, almost like a navy blue, but it has like a little tint of like a purple to it. So it's like right in between like an indigo and a navy blue. It is beautiful. It's beautiful on the real car. I actually think this paint looks pretty accurate to the real version of it from what I've seen on photos. Obviously, the metal flake is a little bit bigger than you'd see in real life, of course. But the paint on this one is absolutely incredible. So yeah, great there. There's a little vent on the side. It's done in like a silver metallic. You've got your BMW logo, again, very legible. And then you, again, looks like we have some textured black plastic in those actual little slots in there as well. So that looks awesome. You've got your silver door handle there as well. Just like the Mini GT, nice body lines. The mirrors is where this one does kind of pull ahead. This one actually has like chrome mirrors on it, chrome side mirrors. These are going to be rigid, so they're not going to be as resilient, but they look really nice. They do have little reflective stickers in them as well, which is awesome. And since they're molded out of plastic and not rubber, they do look a little bit more accurate to me. So yeah, very nice. I like the chrome mirrors on this one. So let's go ahead and go to the front. Again, you have those nice panel body lines on the hood right there. Headlights look really good. Pretty similar to the Mini GT. I think these ones actually might have a little bit of extra detail molded down into that plastic part. It looks like there's like a little channel like separating each lens path. But again, they did do the bulb detail in silver, and it looks really good. And then they outlined the actual acrylic part in black, just like the Mini GT as well. So looks very good. Now, one of the big differences here on the front end is that you'll notice that the turn signals are just painted orange. They are not acrylic like the Mini GT was. So there is that. Obviously, we do prefer acrylic pieces wherever possible. So that is kind of a slight knock. And then those little fog lights that are inserted into the grille are also not acrylic. They're just painted silver. I can forgive those little fog lights a little bit more because they are really small. But if Mini DT can do it at that price point, I do think that the Mini DT did better in that sense. But as far as the grille details in the front go, you've got the nice silver going around those little nostrils. And then you've got the nice vents down there as well. I think that they're both good in the grille department. So there's that. Let's spin around to the back, because again, I will point out that not these little circular lights down here where the license plate goes are also just painted on. They're not done in acrylic. The taillights are done in acrylic though, but there's not like a two-tone orange color. They are just done in red. I don't think it necessarily looks bad with the painted parts and the all red taillights, but I do think Mini DT put a little bit more effort into the lights. And then you also have some nice exhaust detail down here as well. And these ones honestly look really good as well. I don't think anybody wins in that department. And you do have that third light up there. I wish Almost Real would use a little bit more of a metallic paint for these light accents, though. I definitely think Mini DT's brake light paint that they use looks better. But yeah, so let's jump into the interior now. Well, I'll also point out the base for the Almost Real is plastic, whereas the Mini DT was metal. But they do tell you what the car is, that it's licensed, and it does have the the brand name on the bottom too. Decent detail, not a ton. We don't really need a ton of detail on the bottom. I think this is sufficient. Anyways, let's jump into the interior. So it is a nice cream and black color interior, kind of like a beige, but it looks really good. And one thing I noticed, let's see if we can zoom in a little bit more and if I can pick up that texture. You'll notice it might be hard to pick up on camera, but you'll notice this whatever paint they sprayed the interior with is actually kind of textured, and it actually kind of gives the look of it being like a real leather type of material, which is interesting. I don't know if that was intentional or if that's just kind of what happened with the paint, but it looks really cool. But yeah, so you do have these little supports behind the seats. These ones do not have the silver accenting like the Mini GT had. But these ones do look like they go a little bit taller, which I don't know what's accurate. I would assume maybe the Mini GT is a little bit more accurate in the size of them. But yeah, you do not have the BMW logo on that back part in between the seats, which is kind of a shame. But the seats are that two-tone black and beige. And yeah, looking in here, the reason I was saying that I think all the clusters are in the center is because on this Almost Real one, they are. And they actually did detail it in there as well, which is really cool. You can see the BMW logo on the steering wheel is nice and legible. And then you've got some silver and black in that center part, which looks really nice as well. The one thing that is really disappointed, though, is that the gear shifter and the stuff in the center console, the e-brake, not colored at all. It has the beige color, but it's not, there's no silver or any accent colors on it. So that kind of sucks. And then also on the doors, you can see in there, it's all just, there is black. So it is the black and beige two-tone, similar to the Mini GT, but there's no silver on the door handle or anything. So yeah. And I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, I definitely think Mini GT had the better interior on this casting. So I think that's about it for the Almost Real one as well. So who do I think did better? Honestly, I think the Mini GT version is a little bit more crisp. It feels better in the hands because of its metal base, and the Almost Real being a plastic base, it's a lot lighter. It does feel a little bit cheaper just because of that. So just the hand feel, and like when you pick it up and you're looking at it, the Mini GT feels better. It feels more solid. As far as the wheels go, I think Mini GT's wheels look a little bit more crisp, but the logo in the center of the wheel and the brake details is done much better by the Almost Real. And I also did notice just now that there's a little bit more space in between the spokes on the Almost Real. They're a little bit tighter on the Mini GT, so I'm assuming that's a little bit better on the Mini GT. So yeah, some things are better on the Almost Real, some things are better on the Mini GT as far as the wheels go. I do think the Almost Real's tires look better. So yeah, overall though, I do think the Almost Real's wheels and tires and brakes look better than the Mini GT's. Even though the Mini GT's actual spokes look a little bit crisper, I like the Almost Real's. That venting on the side, both look really good. I think the Mini GT's looks a little bit better with the actual casting. I think it blends in a little bit better, but you also do have a little bit more legible logo on that, on the Almost Real. And I do like that they used a bigger metal flake paint for that because it matches the exterior color a little bit better. But with that being said, I think the Mini GT's vent is a little bit better. The reason I brought up the vent is that's one of like the biggest like accent colors when you look at it from the side. It's very pronounced. So I figured that was a good point to make there. As far as the mirrors go, the wing mirrors, obviously Almost Real wins by a landslide in that department. They're actually molded out of plastic, so they're more accurate. They're done in chrome, and they have reflective stickers. So yeah, the mirrors on that one are much better. As far as the front goes, I do think that Mini GT wins here. Let me get a better hold on these. I do think that Mini GT wins here. The headlights themselves, I think both brands did a really good job with. I don't think one's better than the other, but Mini GT did give you that acrylic detail for the turn signals and for the fog lamps themselves. So yeah, it just looks a little bit cleaner than the Almost Real version, in my opinion. And same thing with the back. I do think the Mini GT does look a little bit better here just because it does have those two-tone brake lights. It does have the acrylic lights in here, and their paint for these little auxiliary lights on the bottom, and then up here on top of the well, on top of the rear part right there, I do like the paint they use a little bit more. It's a little bit more metallic-y, and it just looks better than the Almost Real. Exhaust tips, I think they both look fine. The Mini GTs are a little bit smaller, but yeah, I think the exhaust tips both look fine there. And then you can actually see the size comparison for those little, those seat supports. So I think Mini GT looks a little bit better, probably a little bit more accurate as well. But yeah, as far as the interior goes, I think it's pretty clear that Mini GT wins here as well. But both these companies did a great job with the interior detail. I think the one thing Mini GT is missing is I wish they would have been able to put those dials in that center part right there instead of just leaving it black. I think that's the one thing. But also, they did do a lot of extra stuff. So like the door handles, the shift knob has a silver handle and actually a red boot surrounded by black. The e-brake lever is silver. So yeah, Mini GT crushed it with the interior on this one, but the Almost Real version is not bad either. As far as the exterior paints go and everything, I think we kind of give it a wash. Obviously, they're different colors, so we can't compare the actual colors of them. But Mini GT looks really nice, silver metallic, and then the Almost Real looks really nice as well. That like blue indigo metallic color. So, but yeah, as far as like the badges go, I think they're pretty similar. I think maybe the Almost Real's actual badges are a little bit more crisp, a little bit more legible in general. You can kind of see, you can almost make out the letters on that little roundel on that front end. Same with the one on the back right there. Mini GT is a little bit more washed out, but it still looks really good. So, yeah. So with that being said, what are my final thoughts? So I think if you are a BMW nerd like I am, because I really like BMW now, I think if you really, really like BMW, I think the Almost Real is worth it. If you can find it at a good price, or if you really want that big box set it comes in, which I actually have right here, I can show you guys again. There is one missing at the bottom because I pulled out this Z8. Like if you're a super BMW nerd and you really want this box set of all these, then yeah, I definitely think that the Z8 is worth it. If you just want a nice example of the Z8, I think the Mini GT is a better way to go. I think a lot of the details on the Mini GT are better, but honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I think they both look pretty phenomenal, honestly. So yeah, no complaints there. I think they're both good. I think the Mini GT is better price for money, and also just probably a little bit better of a model in general. But yeah, I like them both. Mini GT rolls very smoothly. Also, the metal bases I have noticed do help out with the rolling aspect of it too. They actually keep it a little quieter, make it roll a little bit smoother because it's a little bit more weighted down. But yeah, they both roll very nicely. So yeah, BMW nerds, get both, pretty much. People that just think it's a cool car and just want maybe one or two colors, just go with Mini GT. I think Mini GT will probably end up doing this color anyways, so that would make for an interesting review as far as the paint goes. But yeah, Mini GT is definitely the better value for money here. I think that's pretty safe to say. But yeah, before we go, I'll hook you guys up with some real photos. I will try to find this Z8 in this Alpina Block color. Honestly, the only one I could really find in this color was the actual Alpina version. So if I can't find the regular Z8 in that color, I will just throw up the regular Z8, not the Alpina. And then I'll show you guys the Mini GT as well. Really glad that Mini GT tackled this car. I think it's a really cool one. But I think I'd be correct in saying that the only reason Mini GT made this was because they did James Bond. I think if they wouldn't have done James Bond, we might not have ever seen this from them. And in that case, the Almost Real version would have been the best version. But yeah, so there's some real photos for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to hear. They're both awesome. I'm glad to have both of them. And I'm glad that AR is doing what they're doing. I think they're making some awesome stuff. I love these box sets that they're doing. While their models might not be as crisp and as nicely sorted out as Mini GT, I think they're still great options. If they make something you like, definitely don't hesitate to pick it up. Got a lot more stuff from AR Box coming in, and a lot more to review, so we will slowly work through some of that stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll catch you in the next one.